Tracy's phone. His phone is the right time.
I'm good, you don't have a gavel, because I know where you found.
Okay. Oh, sorry, your phone was in the way.
Only if we wanted to forget something we said. We got 1
You better
minute.
run, don't forget.
Discriminate.
Well, I tried to get the kids off on the coaching me, so.
Okay, somebody's got to choose it.
It's the only meeting I have so far. It's
If you want an orange sheet.
Well,
Somebody's got two.
I feel a lot better now.
What am I gonna do? Turn off. I'll give you my orange sheet.
Not even funny. I feel really privileged. Used to find that. Oh, that's
There you go.
pretty good.
I can get a copy off the mirrors.
That's not that over on right now. Wow. Things will be looking up. How many year launches? On January. It's gonna figure it out. Maybe the one person. Well, this is not on the plan now.
Okay, who has two orange sheets?
36 months ago.
Somebody's gotta have two orange sheets then.
Oh, okay.
Me, I got one.
Oh, I lied.
See?
I'm the failure.
Way to go, JD.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Get used to it.
You get everybody all excited for no reason.
Really mistake out of the way, huh?
Welcome tonight. Let's go ahead and we'll start with our pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, welcome here. Thank you for coming. Before we get any farther, are there any public comments on the agenda items?
So my name's Dawn. I'm actually a student from the university, but I'm also a social worker over at the hospital. So I've never been to a city council meeting, so I'm kind of here just to check it out for a class project, but also glad to be here. So just want to say hi.
Well, good to have you here, Don. We'll try to be on our best behavior.
No worries. It's all good.
So the minutes for the March meeting, we can read those, or I would take a motion to accept them as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept them as written.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the minutes as presented. All in favor?
Hi.
All opposed? The treasurer's report.
I'll make the motion that we accept the treasurer's report as presented.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded that we accept the treasurer's report as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Claims and payroll.
I make a motion that we accept claims and payroll as given to us.
Second that.
Moved and seconded that we accept claims and payroll as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. I'll read the judge's report. Total number of new cases for the month was 47. The total number of pending cases is 64. Total number of disposed cases is 56. The total number of active warrants is 97. And funds paid to the town of Plains for March are $4,455. Last month, we pumped 42,000. I have a hard time with that many numbers. And we sold 2,657,200 for a loss of 13%, which isn't bad considering that we've had bigger leaks than that in the past, so, we'll take that. I also want to, make sure that the council is aware of the, I have it here somewhere. Of the municipal summit there, in Columbia Falls. It'll be, on June 12th. And how many of you, any of you gone to some of those, these municipal summits before? Dan Clark is often a speaker. Yeah,
Last year.
good stuff, right?
It is really good stuff.
Yeah.
Dan's a good speaker.
Yeah.
It's worth going.
It is. Now, and a lot of times it's like a 3 or 4 hour thing. This will actually be a 6 hour, and the closest one that is gonna come to us this year is in Columbia Falls. But that'll be a 6 hour. It'll be June 12th. So mark that on your calendars. I figure, we do have at least one councilman that's interested in going, but if you can get that day off, we can, carpool up to Columbia Falls. It's about 2 hours of windshield time, so we can, not talk about any city business on our way up.
Well, you can have 3 of them with you. You just can't have 4.
Okay, so three of us. Okay, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. 'Cause
Who
I'm-
hasn't gone? You haven't gone?
I really recommend you
I
go.
haven't gone, I will go. Okay.
They make things really simple. It kind of helps you, feel a little less over your head in some ways. So if you're able to make it to that, let me know and we'll look forward to that, June 12th. Yeah. And if we
Yeah, if you
get,
guys can let me know, the sooner the better, so I can get you registered.
I'm going.
Going, okay.
all right. Also, I'm gonna mention house numbers again. It was brought up at the, Town Beautification Day meeting to try and get the agencies, particularly the Plains Volunteer Fire Department, to kind of ramrod getting up house numbers. And again, about 129 addresses in town do not have any addresses posted on their house that you can see. And so that's a concern to the emergency services, particularly the ambulance. So that's something that we're hoping to do during Beautification Day. And how's that going, Beautification Day? Are we
We
So far.
meet Wednesday at 6 again.
Wednesday at 6? Okay. Can you remind me of that after the meeting? So, or you can write that down
And I
someplace.
think I have a couple people for you that need help.
Oh, good. I just had another one at the post office who asked for the link to get signed up for help, so hoping to get as many volunteers as well.
Yeah. Yeah, be sharing that with your neighbors as well.
What day is that? The actual beautification?
The actual day is May 18th. 9 to 4.
For officers' reports, I don't see Tony here. They did actually have a little chimney fire today, and thankfully a quick response by police. Thank you, and fire, and by the homeowner himself. They were able to keep that home from burning down. Could have gone, but he got a garden hose on it before the fire services got there. But I think that's the only call that I can think of that they've had fire call this month. Police department, I'll go ahead and read the Plains Police Department stats. Calls for service last month were 45 full-time. I think that means arrests made were 11. It says assertions. I think it's arrests were made, 11 arrests, criminal and traffic citations written. and written warnings, I'm sorry, were 141. Citizen contacts, 6, business bar checks, 26, and other agency assist were 11. And I think you have that. Do you have that in your packet? If you have any questions on that.
I would just say under the criminal and traffic citations, the total is actually 145 because there was 4 through the reserves.
Oh, okay, yes,
Correction.
thank you. And reserve officer hours were 4, and paid reserve officers were 8. All right, thank you, Connie.
And
And,
don't forget
oh, yes, thank you. I'm so used to him being here. He's been here a day. Rob Yeenan actually graduated from the academy last, was it last Tuesday? Yeah. With flying colors, I might add too. Actually, he did very well for,
Still works.
See if it works.
Yeah,
See if it
it
sticks.
still works.
What basic was that?
183.
I went through 84.
I think I saw your picture down in the basement. It was chiseled out of stone.
Probably black and white.
Way smoother, way more hair.
Way more hair. And a lot thinner.
looking forward to having Rob back though with all that new training and whatnot. Good to have him back on shift. So let's move to unfinished business. Parking of motor vehicles. I'll start. That is still in the working, that ordinance. We don't want to hasten that ordinance. What I will ask you is, all of you, I think, have been given the ordinances. It's time for you to try and get those to my desk with any improvements, corrections, additions, and we'll try to actually put that together so we can start putting that together in kind of a work group, perhaps starting next month. We may want a special meeting for that. I'll look at and see how complicated it is when we get those from you. The road district, and here's an opportunity for some discussion. There's a number of different thoughts on the road district. Of course, you know that last year it did not pass, but it did not pass by 3 votes. And there were a lot of people that didn't vote. I think there was some understanding that, I think that that election came out within the week after we all got our taxes raised by a substantial amount. And so it was like, no more taxes. So I understand why that maybe didn't pass. But the other question to you, as you've been talking with your constituency, and is whether this is something that we should try to go ahead and run through again this year. It's too late to have it in June. It would have to be in November. Or we could wait until next June. Again, what this does is it typically raises, I don't have the exact numbers, but I think you remember them from last year. They haven't changed a lot. The average household, that's going to raise their taxes by around the neighborhood of $200 a year. And that will provide the city with $50,000 per year for the next 5 years. So that would be $250,000. Tell me if I'm saying something wrong. $250,000 for the next 5 years, $50,000 a year. There has been some concern about putting this burden on people that actually live with a median income, apparently of under $25,000 a year. Is it worth it for that $50,000, or should we try to find the money to fix these roads from grants or whatever? And that doesn't mean there's a guarantee that we will find those grants, but just with our regular budget. So I would encourage some discussion on that right now, if there is any thoughts that you should bring to the group here in public.
So to put it in perspective, what was Farmer Street, that little tiny piece right
Yeah,
there?
Farmer Street
Was
yeah.
over $100,000.
That's the tough thing about it. That annual tax is gonna, for 1 year, that's gonna fix about a half a block to pave. And so that's tough. When people are paying that money for taxes and they say, well, what do you do with my tax money, the extra tax money? And say, well, you see over there on 4th Street? No, I don't drive on 4th Street. So your thoughts?
Kind of general consensus in my area is the cost benefit ratio is just too big a spread for what we get out of it.
What did you say?
So I said in my area, the cost benefit ratio seems to be too big of a spread for what we get for what it costs us.
Yeah.
You know, $200 a year is quite a bit of money. I mean, to me anyway,
Well, I didn't-
fixed income, and I'd rather see us promote looking for grants if there's anything out there.
That's what I think too.
There's gotta be something out there.
The thing of it is a lot of our residents are elderly. They're social security people. That's why they have an income of 20-some thousand a year. With the cost of groceries or whatever that we're all suffering through, to put another burden on them, I think I'm not in favor of doing that. I'm just not. But I am in favor of finding a grant or something where we can find some matching funds or something to do that. I mean, I have this evil little thought in my head. Wouldn't it be fun to have a toll booth coming off of Lynch Creek and off of River Road West, and we could raise that money, you know? But I know we can't do that, but that was just, boy, that would really solve the problem.
Tracy, don't write that down.
Oh, no.
That's off record, Tracy. It was just a vision of mine.
I understand vision, 100%.
So, but to put it on the backs of these people that are poor, I don't know.
Be
I just don't feel
different,
right about it.
be different if the amount that we received for that $200 a year was a little bigger,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
That's, just seems like quite a bit to, I mean, I realize that we're a small area and everything, and so I think that's why we need to focus, like you said, on the grant thing. I'm in agreement with you there.
maybe even some, the state government has a surplus. And it has had a surplus. Maybe we could find something through the state that would help us out. Small town, rural town kind of thing going. I just think I'd be happy to do research if you need somebody to just sit and pound the computer.
Well, and we'll have our grant administrator certainly looking, and we do have some monies left over from, the ARPA, I think. And, but a lot of that is earmarked for our well.
Mhm.
But I think we should all be looking for that, feel free to send it my way or to Sherry. And we'll, keep looking, but I mean, meanwhile, keep your ear to the rail with your wards, I think, to see what people think about it. It's a good question to ask people when you're getting in touch with them, but, to see what the consensus is.
I kind of think potholes do slow the traffic a bit,
Yeah, I'm all for
at
speed
least on my
bumps.
street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. We got children there.
Also, we have, unfinished, with that, I guess that let's,
I'm gonna take a vote.
yeah. Or to table it, I mean, we still have time to do it. If you wanna get it off the agenda, what are you thinking? Do you wanna, let's do that, let's just take a vote right now, either to, if you just wanna take that off of the agenda and put it off, procrastinate on it, or revisit it, maybe is the better way to put it. It's something that we can always revisit, but to take it off of the agenda for the next, do you wanna make a vote on that right now?
Can we just say like till next year at this time or something?
Well, let's go ahead and vote, let's take
How does that?
I guess we could do a voice vote on
We need
it.
a motion.
I'll make a motion that we take the road district off of the agenda.
Second that.
Okay, moved and seconded that we take the road district off the agenda
You
for
want
the
a voice
time
vote?
being. Yeah, let's do a voice vote. Vote your conscience.
Chad,
Yes.
John R.,
Yes.
Lana,
Yes.
Connie,
Yes,
John S.,
Yes.
JD.
Yes.
Okay. Good, thank you.
I haven't heard back from Lauren on this. What's the-
Yeah. We really, okay, also on unfinished business, we have a review of chapter 4 for the ordinance, billing. For water, we haven't got that ordinance back, so there's really, I think we're gonna have to table that. If I take a motion to table that as well, because we still have to hear from our attorney.
I'll make a motion that we table the review of the chapter 4 ordinance billing.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we table, chapter 4 ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. New business, resolution 24-3, and I really don't know why we can't do those together, but
We probably can if you want to.
we'll do both resolution 24-3 and 24-4 because they're on the ambulance, and they both deal with the same thing, and they're just two different pieces of paper in the two different directions. I'll read them though. Resolution 24-3 reads, resolution authorizing participation in the Board of Investments of the State of Montana Annual Adjustment Rate Principal Finance Consolidation Act Extendable Bond Intercap Loan Program, approving the form and terms of the loan agreement and authorizing the execution and delivery of documents related thereto. In other words, do we want to get the loan for the ambulance? That's what that means in English. And then resolution 24-4, a resolution authorizing participation in the Board of Investments of the State of Montana Annual Adjustment Rate Municipal Finance Consolidation Act Expandable Bond, again, Intercap Loan Program, approving the form and the terms of the loan agreement and authorizing the execution and delivery of documents related thereto. You all have the news on what we're doing with the ambulance, and that's what, this is just for the paperwork and the legalities of it. I think we know enough about that. I would entertain a motion to approve both of these resolutions.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 24-3 and resolution 24-4, that we accept both of those.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded that we approve resolution 24-3 and 24-4. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Also, on new business, we need to appoint a floodplain administrator. This isn't, most of us recognize John Sheridan to be the floodplain administrator, but we did notice that he was not officially appointed. And so I am doing that now. If I would take a vote from you to approve the appointment of John as floodplain administrator. Can I get a,
You need
A
the motion first?
go ahead and make
Okay,
a
I
motion.
make a motion that we approve John Sheridan as the floodplain administrator.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we appoint John Sheridan floodplain administrator. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you, John, for taking that position. And you were here even this time when we appointed you.
Yeah.
We pushed you in front of the bus this time. That's not last time.
It's good for not being here.
Also, on new business, we have now the determination that needs to be made on account number 1390. Many of you, I think most of you know about this particular account. This went to the Public Works Committee, and looked at the ordinance on that, about the water hookup. That was done, I believe, in early November. That water was hooked up, and the person that was charged for that hookup, for what? Oh, I thought you were. The person has been charged for that hookup, even though the water was only turned on here last month. They had been being charged the base rate for that water, and there was a question about whether we should be doing that. Chad, would you like to give us your report from just the determination that was made by the Public Works Committee?
I don't have those notes in front of me, but in looking back to my idea of it, on that particular account, the property owner requested that we hook it up, knowing that the residents would not be using the water for a period of time, but still requested that it be hooked up. So the way that I perceive that is that by having us hook it up, knowing that they wouldn't be using it, they're incurring that expense, not us.
So in our ordinance, the ordinance reads now that when you have an electrical meter and your water is hooked up, that you begin paying that service right off the bat. However, we did notice in that meeting too, that there was some confusing language in the application that may have caused the homeowners to misunderstand that they would be paying that base rate. I agree completely on record with the decision to be very careful to follow the ordinance with the Public Works Department. However, there's an MCA ordinance 7-4-4305 that also gives a mayor the power to grant pardons. And let me read that for you. It says that the mayor has power to grant pardons and remit fines and forfeitures for offenses against city or town ordinances when in the mayor's judgment, public justice would be thereby subserved. The mayor must report all pardons granted with the reasons therefore to the next council. This is the next council, and I don't really plan to lean on this very often, but I feel like in this case, because of the particular situation, there was particular hardship on this account that came from the fire in Paradise, and I feel like it would be kind of the right thing to do because of some of the confusion in the reading or interpretation of the ordinance that we should let go and forgive that base rate for the last 3 months that they were paying without water. I just think in my determination, it's fair to them. And as we clarify that ordinance in future and that application, I think we certainly need to stick to that ordinance and the way it's read. But because of this situation, I don't think it's worth the heartache that it might cause to not actually forgive that revenue that came from that. There was no water used, there was no sewer used, and the water got turned on officially last month. So from that point on, is there any discussion or irritation with that?
I think from just off of memory, we were under the impression that we were bound by MCA, that we didn't really have an out for that. I mean, but we were under the impression that the decision was out of our hands. Well, with this finding, it might have been out of our hands, but it's not out of yours, so.
Yeah, I think we're talking a small amount of money, but it can hurt people's feelings to feel like they're paying for something they're not getting. So I think in this particular case, I feel it to be wise. And
so you feel like the hardship warrants
the opportunity.
I do, it's a very
I love
unique
it.
case, it's a very unique, most people, when they build a home,
Yeah.
start using that water right off the bat, but because of this person needed a home immediately, because they had been burned out. And so because of that particular hardship, and because that home had to be started, you know, so that they could build and finish it during winter months, it was a unique case, so.
You know, in this area, we gotta take into account for weather like that too. You know, we don't live in Tennessee or Texas where, you know, they have 10 months or 11 months of building weather either.
I
Don't
don't,
sympathize with that.
yeah, oh, absolutely. I don't know that that requires a motion, just, transparency, and so that's why I wanted to bring that up. So we will go ahead and forgive that, that base rate.
So that's for 3 months then, is that correct?
I believe it's 3 months, yeah. I did take him off.
Okay.
Next month, yeah, next month. Next month, we were actually going to appoint Tracy Scott to the police commission, but I noticed in the ordinance on that as well that you're supposed to do that in May. So we're gonna wait for a month before we make that official appointment, so we can kind of get back in sync with, actually, that's an MCA. So. All right, committee reports. Administration committee meeting minutes are attached. I don't believe there was a public works committee meeting this.
There was not.
there? Okay. Parks and recreation, anything from you? Okay. Planning board. I don't think
There was
there's
no meeting.
no meeting. Police commission? Any news? Safety committee? Okay. One other thing is that we are working on making sure that we have the appropriate number of people on those committees. We're kind of, that's something I've been working on, is to make sure that the committees are kind of put together and gathered together again. And as we come into summer, we're hoping to get some of y'all meeting again. There's been a little bit of a hiccup with some of just the change in administration, and now I'm catching up to that, so thank you for your patience. Is there any public comment on anything we've talked about or anything of concern?
This young man here is here to be appointed to the library board. He was told to come here.
Oh, okay. What's your name?
Brandon
Brandon, and your last name?
Wilson.
Brandon Wilson, okay. Yes, I saw that. I actually was trying to get a hold of Nikki, or I feel like I need to get a hold of Nikki too, to see just what the commissioner's part in that is, because you're kind of appointed both by the commissioners and the city.
And the county, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of share that responsibility, but for our part,
I've already been appointed by the county.
you have,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Got a letter in the mail.
Okay, good. And if you could actually get me a copy of that letter, that would be good. So we can
Absolutely.
keep it in.
It'll be a few days, or, by this Wednesday, the next Wednesday, I'll be back down and a copy of that for
Okay, Brandon, what, your last name one more time?
Wilson.
Wilson. Okay, and he comes well recommended from Nikki. And so I would take a motion to appoint Brandon Wilson to the library board.
I'll make a motion to appoint Brandon Wilson to the library board.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we appoint Brandon Wilson from the city to the library board. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, Brandon, congratulations. Thank you. And if you could get that letter to me, then I'll just keep that in my files and we'll get you
Absolutely.
an official recognition for that. Again, any public comment? Yes, sir.
Did I hear right that you reappointed Tracy for the police commission?
Yes, not yet, not officially, but I asked him if he would be willing to run again, and he said he would be. Again, rather than do that tonight, I want to make that appointment on May, because for some reason, the ordinance says that needs to be done in May.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure why. I actually asked, our attorney about that. He wasn't sure why that is, but, just to follow the ordinance. We should do things right. So thank you, Tracy, for your willingness to do that. Any other public comment? All right. I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight.
Very difficult conversations when you're done. Yeah, exactly. Conversations.